Okay, I will do. This feels so.
Put it on YouTube, man.
Hi. I'm going to hopefully take you through how Konflikt 47 works and show you some of the basic rules mechanics. My name's Russ. I'm the sculptor and T-Monkey for Clockwork Goblin Miniatures. Talk you through the units on the table to start with. Some of the stuff will be recognisable for anyone who's played Flames of War. So we've got some Pershings and Stuarts on the American side, some basic GI infantry, and then just to mix things up a bit, we've got our Coyotes, which are a light single-man mech. Biped walkers, because the Americans have got gyroscopic technology. Over here we've got three types of American medium mech. We've got our Grizzly, which is our workhorse, kind of the Sherman equivalent with a 76mm gun. We've got our Ursus, which is a heavy support 76mm gun and some nice anti-tank rockets, and our Kodiak, which is the anti-infantry option, two belt-fed hoppers on the shoulders feeding the 30mm autocannons and twin 50 cals on either side underneath and a 50 cal on top. So that spits out nice amounts of firepower versus light targets. Over here we got some M4 Shermans. These ones have got our Tesla cannon. So we've got an electrical capacitor at the back powering a variable strength electricity cannon, 3 power settings for taking out infantry all the way down to punching holes through tanks and making your teeth buzz. On the German side, nearly forgot, American heavy powered infantry. Electrical pack on their backs. Yes. Heavy machine gun in the arm, lots and lots of armour, very difficult to kill. Heavy bazookas. On the German side, we've got the German equivalent, Panzerfaust, MG42s, some command figures here. Again, plenty of stuff there that you'll recognise. We've got the Spinners, which is a light walker, autocannon and a machine gun, quite nice at clearing out small and medium targets. Gravity generators on these Panzer IVs, which will trap infantry and armour down. Lots and lots of firepower output, and it prevents things from moving properly. And over here, the king of the battlefield for the Germans today is the Thor, which is a medium to heavy walker with a Brumbar style assault cannon built in, and there is an anti-tank variant of this called the Zeus, which we've released today, and I think some of your guys have picked up. So that's our forces. The game system uses something similar if you've played Bolt Action or some of the Fat Lardis games. Every platoon on the battlefield gets a coloured counter. So we've got blue for the Americans, we've got white for the Germans, and we've got 2 red counters. Every turn we draw counters in turn, so we have an asymmetric you go, I go system. When you pull the first red counter, that's a warning that game turn is about to end. You pull the second red counter and game turn is over, which means that you need to prioritise your force allocation all the time, because you never know exactly how much time you're going to have and how many activations you're going to have to play your turn. It creates a bit of fog of war. Game mechanics. Hopefully we can get 2 volunteers from the studio audience.
Yep.
Would you like to play Germans?
Yes, please.
I'll play Americans.
That's by default, I feel. Your hand has been forced. Okay, so Germany in the bag is white, American in the bag is blue. Turn structure is pretty simple. When you get to activate a unit, every unit gets 2 actions. You can either shoot first and then move first and then shoot, or take a double move. Double move is also how you carry yourself into assault range. The reason that you would shoot first is there is a penalty for moving. The reason you would move first is because you might not be able to get your best line of sight. Hi. Yes, of course. 1 second while I lend my compadre my phone. And with that. Okay, so first out of the bag, we've got a bit of an artificially close set of troops here, so you should get to the killing pretty quickly. We're going to go with America. So, what would you like to activate first?
Okay, let's activate the light walkers then.
Okay, the thing about walkers to remember is that they are designed to fill a hole in the capability of regular armour. So they are not as heavily armed or armoured as tanks, but they are more damage resistant, and they operate really well at close range, and they have assault capabilities. The American light Coyote walkers come with a fairly powerful autocannon in the arm and a 50 cal up on the shoulder. So they're really good against infantry and light targets. What would you like to do?
What is their shooting range?
Okay, so they have got I've got the wrong card. Sorry about that.
You have a motivation and
Performance anxiety because I know I'm on camera. Okay, Coyote has got 4 dice at 16 range, blast damage, which is kind of equivalent to a bazooka or a heavy grenade, and then 3 dice at small arms at 12 inch, which is their lighter machine gun.
I'll go with the longer range firing then.
Okay.
16.
So you're firing before you move, so you've got no shooting penalty. So you've got 3 models, each going to get 4 dice, so you get 12 dice to fire. Now, we've got what we call a dynamic defense system. So if you nominate your target, I'll talk you through how defense works.
I'll fire on the ordinary infantry.
Okay, so the ordinary infantry get 2 dice as basic trained infantry. They would get an additional dice if they were in cover, but currently it's just 2. The highest number you roll is the target to hit. So you're going to need 4s this turn. So you never know exactly what you're going to need, but obviously the more elite troops are, the more dice they're going to get, the higher on average their numbers will be. So you can always catch people flat-footed, but it should be relatively predictable.
4 on 12 dice.
Yes. That looks like an excellent roll.
1, 2, 3, and yeah.
All of these are hits. So we've got 7 hits, 8 hits.
Yeah.
7.
5, 6, yeah, 7 hits.
Right, and we're firing blast weapons against Defence 1 infantry. Blast against Defence 1, you're killing them on 2s. Ordinary infantry will absorb 2 hits each for hit allocation. Powered infantry can take 3. Okay, so we have got 2, 4, 6, 3 stands. Nearest ones, or can I choose? You choose anything that's in range. Okay. The only time that damage allocation isn't completely handled by the defender is if you have a mixed unit type, so you've got light mechs and infantry together, you have target priority, which forces him to allocate to one type of model before the other. Now they'll get the test for suppression. Suppression is attested for these guys on an 8, with 3 stands casualty, that's reduced to 5. So they have failed. Yep. They are suppressed. So I'll put a little counter on. Suppressed models have a number of penalties. They've got a 1 dice penalty on all of their actions. They can only take 1 action per turn, not 2. They can't initiate an assault or fire defensively if they're assaulted. If they fail a second suppression check while suppressed, they are broken and removed from the table. Okay. Right, let's see what's out of the bag next. Although they still have a 6-inch move available to them.
Do they have to move the full 6, or can they?
No, they can move any distance up to. Take measures over there.
Thank you. Okay then. I'll move them up to 3.
Okay.
I'm going to get too close.
And next out of the bag, it's America again. Bad luck, Germany.
Okay then, I'm going to move the Pershings.
Yep.
And then fire with them.
Right, now, the Pershing main gun has got a 32-inch range, so it may be that you don't need to move depending on what your target choice is, which is advantageous to you.
Can't move then. I shall fire on the gravity pulse.
Okay, you're firing on that platoon. Whether or not the hits get allocated to the gravity gun will depend on.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm firing on that platoon.
So, again, they're out in the open, so it's 2 dice for your defence. And this time they are definitely caught flat-footed, only 2s to hit. Pershing gun gets 2 dice per shot. Because you've not moved, there's no penalty, so you've got 6 dice to roll, needing 2s to hit. Oh, 6 hits. That will do. That will do. Right. The defence of a Panzer IV is 10. The Pershing gun is very heavy. Very heavy against defence 10, kills it on 2s. Oh, right, okay. Tanks can only absorb 1 hit each.
Oh dear, alright, okay. There goes my platoon then.
There goes your platoon indeed.
Zach, take it off. Take it off.
Annihilate that unit.
Yeah, I know.
So there was no penalty for actually having these guys in the way.
Because these are large large targets and these are on small bases, there's no penalty. If it was the other way round, these would be intervening.
And what about firing through your own troops up at those? Would they blocked?
Because they're elevated, there probably wouldn't be an issue. If they were on ground, you'd probably find that these couldn't draw a line of sight.
So still, vehicles still block line of sight?
Absolutely, yes. Larger targets block line of sight to smaller targets.
How about infantry? So
infantry generally don't block line of sight to anything apart from other infantry. Okay, right. Do you want to move the Pershings now that they've fired?
Yes, I'll move them.
Okay, would you like to move them up? Track vehicle with a movement of up to 8 inches.
Okay, I'll move them forward.
There is a +2 bonus when you're moving on the road. Obviously, at this range, you're not going to take advantage of that. Okay, let's see what's coming out the bag next, and it is Germany.
Okay.
Time for the right to strike.
How likely am I to be able to assault the Persians?
Oh, you're going to make me work hard now. Okay.
Mind you, they've already shot at me, so...
Yeah, you have also got some anti-tank capability here, because although your small arms won't do any damage, you've got an anti-tank weapon here and 2 anti-tank weapons here. You've got 5 heavy anti-tank shots, which will kill Pershings on 5s or 6s.
Alright, I'll tell you what I'll fire these guys and this platoon.
Okay, right. So, the Thors are going to fire without moving. Your infantry are out in the open, so again they get 2 dice for defence.
Come on.
You roll 2 6s.
Come on, power armour.
That's a 6.
Ah, I told you.
So, Rumbar, standard shot, you've got 2 firing options. It can take 3 very heavy anti-tank shots, or 6 light anti-infantry shots. So you've got 12 dice coming in. You do need 6s. And this is where powered infantry come into their own, because needing 3 hits allocated to destroy them makes them really hard to shift unless you're assaulting them. Wow, that's a good roll.
Oh, I destroyed 1 stand.
No, because you haven't actually rolled for damage yet.
Oh, okay, that's the hit.
But light versus defence 2, they are automatic kills, so you're absolutely right, that is a stand taken out. So it's your choice, because you're the American player.
I'll take out this stand here.
But effectively, powered infantry, it's almost like they're dug in all the time.
Lead in the true.
Okay.
They have to make a suppression.
They've got to make a suppression check, and it's at a -1 penalty.
You've got to.
Now, because they're infantry, just over here, it's a straight roll. Powered armour gets a re-roll if it fails. Basic infantry don't. So you're looking for a 7. Anything above a 7, and they will be suppressed. That's an 8, so they are suppressed.
So it's only under a 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Now that makes things very interesting for you if you get a second German activation, because if you assault them while suppressed, they are done for.
Well, you can still move those, can't you?
Yes, you can move the Thors now if you want to. The only thing you can't do is move them within an inch of engagement. That's where they are? Okay, and it's America next.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to fire this platoon here at the heavy walkers.
Okay, now this is interesting. You've got 3 76mm guns here, 2 shots each, 24-inch range, very heavy weapon, very nice. The Tesla comes with 3 power settings. There's a big dial that the guy turns, basically. You can have 6 dice at light, 4 dice at medium, or 2 dice at very heavy. If you take 2 dice at very heavy and you manage to hit, you are going to knock these things for 6. It all depends on what their defence is, though. They're caught out in the open, so 2 dice again. This does not bode well for the war.
No.
So you're going to get 6 dice for these 3 guns.
Take 6 dice for the
and make sure you get 2 different colours, would be my advice.
Okay, I'll use the purple for the Teslas and the green and reds for the 4,
so
5,
green and red, and you're going to get
6, yeah,
and 4 dice for the Teslas.
4 dice.
2 per tank. You're needing 3s to hit.
3s, and I'll do it at the max setting for the Teslas.
I imagine that was the case. Clearly making sound effects helps because you've only missed with 2 shots. So, we've got 3 hits with Teslas. We'll do those first. The Thor has a defense of 10, but you're hitting with a very heavy weapon. So you only need 2s to kill it.
3 2+s?
Being a mech, it can take 2 hits to kill. So you're looking for 2s. So we've got 3 hits, and this is where the multiple hit allocation works. Those are allocated there, and that's allocated there. If there were no further shots, this would die, and that hit would vanish. Because we've got further shots to resolve, these need 5s, but you only need 1, 5 or 6 to take out both walkers. And there it is. So both walkers are trashed.
Zach, take them off.
This is looking like a very different game to the one we played earlier already, where the Americans got hosed. Okay, they've still got move available if you want it.
Yeah, they'll move up.
Okay, so they've got an 8-inch move or 10 inches if they're using the road.
They'll move 8.
So does each unit have a pointer?
Is he German? Is it
Is it always the same amount of tokens?
No, the number of tokens is based on the number of tunes you're playing. 6 tunes, 6 tokens. But because of the variable game,
If you pull out red twice.
yeah, that's what happened in the previous game. We had warning and then the same call. Okay, let's see what's coming out next. It is America.
USA!
Look at them.
I had one shot the entire game.
Driven forward.
Okay, is that an
Heavy mix of Red Stripe and Kid Rock albums.
Oh, there's the press, and assault there.
I think I might just with I'll activate the heavy mix there.
Okay, now target allocation here could be quite critical because although they are walkers, as I explained earlier, effectively it's a gyroscope and a good gear mechanism. They don't have super advanced targeting systems. So the only way to split fire, if you wanted to use the anti-infantry against infantry and the heavier weapons against heavy targets, is a command check. So you have a primary firing element and a secondary firing element. If you pass the command check, you get to fire on your targets. If you fail, your secondary firing element doesn't get to shoot. So it's a decision, but you might want to split fire to be able to use all of the weapons against
I'll try the anti-infantry against the infantry and the anti-tank against the against the heavies.
Against the heavy tanks. Panthers, good choice. So it's a command check of 8.
8 on 2 dice.
8 on 2 dice. Anything 8 or below. Unfortunately, you failed your command check. Your commander's flushed it, so your secondary element of anti-infantry will not get to fire. No problem. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 76mm guns going in here. So we need a defensive roll.
Go on, Paul. Snake eyes.
Very nice, very nice. Those German tank commanders know what they're doing. Right, 2 dice
Rely on the old
for each 76mm gun. Now,
Modern technologies is now.
you have a firing option here. The Ursus with its rocket pods gets 2 dice at heavy for a normal missile shot, or you can launch a full salvo. That changes it to from heavy to very heavy, but for the rest of the game you've only got the 76mm gun. You've got to go out.
I'll go for the very heavy.
Okay, in for a penny, in for a pound. So you're going to want 1, 2, 3, 6 dice for the 76mm guns, and in different colours, 4 dice for the very heavy missile salvo.
Okay, so 6 for the guns, 6 for the guns, and 4 for the rocket pods.
Yeah, but you do need 6s to hit here, so it could see how things go.
On everything.
1, 2, 3, 4 6s. 2 very heavy and 2 heavy. Right, now,
Blood test required.
has a defense of 13, so it's a tough tank. So 6s for your heavies, but only 4 for your very heavies.
Okay.
Didn't you say you've already bought
Those
stuff for
on
this game?
4s, those on 6s.
Okay, so I need 2 4s and 2 6s.
This is the moment.
Get back on that doghouse. Ooh.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Not even a scratch.
It's not all bad for Johnny Hunt.
Unbelievable.
Come on.
All that noise for nothing.
Germany!
Okay, I'm going to assault his troops and my heavy troops.
Oh, you're going to make work hard now. Okay. Normally at this point, you could declare defensive fire. However, because they're suppressed, it's not going to happen. When you declare an assault, you get a 1.5 move. So for infantry, 6 becomes 9. Okay. To get as much in as you can.
Right. So
anything that
I basically get everything.
Yeah, anything that's either touching an enemy or is within an inch of something touching an enemy will get to contribute to the assault.
So other units get to defensive fire as well, or is it just...
Yeah, infantry get to defensive fire. You get to defensive fire with small arms and secondary weapons. So on vehicles you've got primary and secondary. That will still count because it's within an inch of an engaged model. Okay. Right, infantry versus infantry. Here we go. So I'm going to need my infantry stats. Just bear with me as I rifle through my sheets.
Take your time.
Fortunately, for assault purposes, both sets of heavy infantry are the same. So they are going to use their basic small arms weapons for assault purposes. When you assault, you just need to roll to damage. You automatically hit. Okay. So you're going to get 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 attacks.
24 attacks.
24 attacks.
Do I attack first?
It's a simultaneous situation.
You lost 12, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So,
You won't get 24, I guess, because you've lost the stand. You've lost the
the
stand.
bonus thing with Solent here is because he's suppressed, he's going to get negative modifiers, and at the end of the combat, when we're determining who has won, the advantage lies with you in terms of pushing back. So what do I need? Right, it's small arms versus you need 4s, and these are allocated as casualties, not as hits. So we're just allocating for kills here. That's not marvellous.
Okay, I lost the stand, so does that mean I get 22 dice? 22 hits.
No, your attacks back won't be as good because the advantage he's got as an assaulter is he's brought a weight to bear.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Oh yes, of course. So you've got 5 hits from the first batch. Well spotted, gents. So we've got 5. Oh, that's better. I like it. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You're going to kill 5 stands. Okay. Now, attacks back. Here's the thing.
First one was sighting shots.
That one is 4. That one is 4. That's 8. That one's 2. It's 10. It's 12. 13. Only 14. Because he's brought the weight of his troops to bear and you're not all as well positioned, you're not getting as many attacks.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
My flanking and stuff actually works.
What do I need? 4 plus?
You need 4. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is enough to destroy 2 stands. You've lost 5 stands.
They know fear.
Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. You have lost the combat.
By lots.
By lots. That means you are forced to make a fallback of 4 inches. You can choose to occupy that space.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
However, you've also, because you were suppressed when you lost, the rest of your unit is destroyed. They have routed. So you get your 4-inch move. Now here's the thing, even though you won the assault, you still take a suppression check. Because assault is so disorienting that there's a chance that you are disorganised at the end of it.
The Germans, they can make the trains run on time.
But with a base test of 8, you should be fine. Absolutely awesome. Okay, so you have seized that position extremely well. Okay.
What happens if you're on a double 1 to see what they need to do?
It counts as 2. You can never have automatic. Nobody's luck is that bad.
Not even Chuck Norris.
Oh, the Yanks again. What?
Okay.
It's like blue tokens.
I just want to prove.
I'm gonna
hold on.
Can I see the power armor troops in the wood, or do I have to move to?
You can see need 2 inches into a wood, so at the moment you can't. If they were on the hill, you'd be able to fire through.
I will move and then shoot.
Yeah, that's
to see if I can get the back.
Okay.
Thank you kindly. And how far can these stewards move?
Stewards move 18 inches. Up to. Just dig out the steward.
That was brutal.
Yeah, Goblin, white tail.
Okay, so a Stuart is a light tank. It's not got much punch against a lot of targets, but your main weapon has an HE round. There are no templates in the game. Area of effect weapons are covered, because it's platoon based, by having more attack dice, so they can cause more damage. So you've got 4 small arms fire from the main weapon, and you can take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small arms fire, because you managed to get them all in their front arc. You can get 7 additional dice, so you've got, but they're all penalty because of moving. So it's actually 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 per tank. 21 dice. 21 dice.
So roll my defence.
Defence, yeah. There is no penalty to being shot in the reverse because infantry have 360 line of sight. Okay, 21 attacks, but 6 is to hit. These infantry are elite.
2, 3, 4, 11.
Still got 23 shots.
2 batches of 14.
But you wouldn't like this, you wouldn't set up at the open, would you?
Okay, 2 batches of 14, needing 6 hits.
Hide behind the hills and stuff and get extra dice. Need 6
Yeah, also when you're firing on units where some things are in cover and some aren't, you can choose if you're going to target just the stuff in the open or try and hit everything and decide how that defensive pool is generated.
I thought you said it was 21 attacks.
It is.
What, each or in total?
In total.
Oh, because you
Sorry, I said 2. Yeah, it's because my maths is bad, I'm sorry. So we'll do 14 and 7.
14 and 7. Need 6. Oh!
1.
2.
Just
no, that's
2.
not as good as I thought it was.
That is not as good as it looked.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and need 6s.
No. Now, there is no point rolling these because you need at least 3 wounds. So they'll take suppression because they've received fire, but it's unmodified and there's no casualties involved. So it's an unmodified roll of 8. They're fine. Absolutely fine. Okay, let's see what's next out the bag.
And if you don't get 3,
Warning! Game end is approaching. Or turn end is approaching anyway. And 1 second counter out. It's America!
I'm not taking you to Vegas.
So white count on that bag.
How far can the infantry move?
What's the odds on the next counter being red?
Infantry.
Okay, infantry, base move 6.
Move 6.
So you can double move 12 if you want to cover ground.
Yeah, I want to see if I can get them to.
You can't assault move though because your 9-inch move won't get you close.
Ah, it's 9 inches.
It's 1.5 for assault, yeah.
No problem.
the
Okay.
Pershings.
No, the Pershings have already moved.
Yeah.
Everything's moved other than the infantry.
Yeah, Americans have a lot more activations than Germans this turn.
I'll just move the infantry then, just forward.
12. What would happen? Would they have to manoeuvre around the unit, or can
Yeah,
they?
if there's not sufficient room to move through, you do need to go round.
Okay, there should be.
You can move through infantry with other infantry, but you can't move through vehicles or walkers.
What's the next?
You want to know what the next counter is? You're desperate to know.
It's going to be a white one. It's going to be a red one, isn't it?
It's white.
Okay.
Revenge of the Germans.
I use my Panthers to attack the Pershings.
I think that seems reasonable. So,
After they're completely annihilated.
2 dice for defence.
Come on.
3, right. 2, 4, 6, 8 very heavy dice, needing 3s to hit. This could be painful.
Oh, yes.
Right, okay, it's a very heavy shot. Let's check what Pershing's armour is. Probably not enough is the answer. Pershing, defence 12 with a very heavy shot. Killing on 3s. It's only 1 hit per tank, 1 hit per tank. Come on. Yes!
Completely wiped out the unit.
They have gone.
Needs more legs.
Yes, that's the solution. Add more, apply walkers till the problem goes away. Okay, I'm assuming they don't.
No, that's where they are.
Germany again.
God damn it.
Right,
Here comes the crowds.
Now you're hoping it will end.
light walkers are going to shoot at the infantry there.
Okay, what you've got with the light walkers is a 12-inch range, 3 dice small arms machine gun, and an 18-inch range, 2 dice very light auto cannon.
That's all right, so we need to move up on you. So if you want to shoot the infantry, move up. Okay, so
We can pre-measure beforehand.
Yes, you can. They're pre-measuring's fine. Can you split fire? You can split. You can't split fire by weapon because at the end of it, it's still just a turret and it can't move that quickly. You can split fire by model.
Okay, so I'll move up to fire.
On the infantry. Okay, 2 dice defense for the infantry because they're out in the open.
Come on.
So, because of the movement penalty, you'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 shots at very light, which is an auto kill against the infantry, and 2, 4, 6, 8 shots at small arms, killing all those.
So I'll do the light ones.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3. That's infantry stand destroyed, and we get a hit allocation, and then 8 dice.
Oh dear.
Hitting on 4s, killing on 3s.
Oh, yes.
That's the 10 count.
Nice. 7 out of 8 hits.
Killing on 3s.
Killing on 3s. Not so nice. So we've got 2 more hits. So Brand stand has gone. 1 stand is destroyed.
And they're going to move on to suppression.
Yeah. Oh, I took 1 out already. My apologies. So
2, wasn't it?
No, you were not last one for the first
my apologies. Oh dear. Sorry, we only wrote it. We don't know what's going on. Okay, so yeah, you've got suppression at -2, so 6s with no reroll. They are suppressed. Damn it. Unlucky. So now you really want to. Activation.
I've got nothing much else.
It might be dead actually. It might have died in the interim. Have you got any other units to
Off
use?
tracks.
The infantry?
No, the infantry. Oh, no, yeah, the infantry actually.
Yeah, they are suppressed. What you can choose to do is they can all fire at -1 dice and then take a suppression check at the end of the turn to unsuppress, or you can just unsuppress them as your action.
I'll take a fire at
Okay. So normally they get basic rifle. Let's have a quick reminder. Normally they get rifle and LMG infantry 5 small arms dice at 12-inch range. However, this range with the suppression that's 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and 1 shot from the bazooka. 17 small arms. What are they firing on? The American GIs? Yeah. Okay, so you need to take a quick defense so we know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, they're suppressed. There's a 1 dice penalty. Oh, it's gone from 6s to 2s.
They're in those foxholes and then they jump back out again.
That would be that lot. Okay.
Oh damn.
Right. And we're back to needing small arms. There's 1 3s again. Right, this is going to hurt. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stands are destroyed. They're all ready to suppress.
So
Double 1 or the unit is annihilated. They're broken and
insane courage. Nope.
No, they are gone.
They're gone.
And then I can roll to unsuppress.
And then you can make a basic check at -1 to unsuppress. You remain suppressed. Okay, so you're just a bit disorganised. Right, and I think that went really well. I'm not sure.
How did you get us up to realistic?
And that's turn end.
I think should we call it there for the demo?
And I think that's absolutely fine. Thank you very much, gents. Well, good game. Thank you. Cheers.
So you each lost 2 to 2.